Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So this is part 4, I think, of my Embracing the Mess series, and I'm just going to dive right in. I am going to cover up the stencil pattern on the face here because it's just too distracting. So I want to keep it on the hair, but I'm going to cover the forehead up there. And I think that I am going to leave the hair blue. I kind of like that kind of abstract quality to it. And because I'm leaving the stencil for the hair over here on this figure, I don't want to add brown for the hair here because it's gonna kind of stand out too much. Like it's gonna be kind of, it's just gonna look strange if like this is realistic and this is realistic and then this has a stencil in the hair. So I'm gonna just leave everything abstract. And so I'm just gonna let that dry. And all these irregularities here, I'm just gonna leave it because I'm actually really liking it. So I'm just tightening things up. And I don't want things to be too fussy and tight. And I'm just gonna draw in the facial features with my calligraphy pen here. But I want things to be like loose. And I'm just gonna outline some of the hair and the figure. I'm not gonna outline everything. And like I said, I just want a very loose feeling. Like I don't want it to be super tight. So I'm working kind of like fast, not super fast, but you know, I'm not being really meticulous. So I was asked in one of my on one of my recent videos, somebody left a comment and they asked me if I have a creative practice where I paint every day, and I actually do, but it's something I've had to cultivate over a long period of time. And I find that what works best is if you have a space that's dedicated to your creativity, so you don't have to bring everything out all the time. So I have an art studio in my home, but you know, I haven't always had that luxury. And the very first art studio I had was when I was a teenager, and it was actually my sketchbook. And you know, I called it my art studio. Like in retrospect, I can look back on it and say that was my very first art studio. It was just a sketchbook that I had, but it was always available to me. It was portable. I carried it, I took it with me everywhere. So it really made the habit of creating easier, because when you have a dedicated space, then it's warm, it's inviting, it's safe, and it's always available to me. So, you know, through the years, I've had different setups, and sometimes I've had just a small table that was off to the side, and I had an art journal and, you know, a few paints and pencils. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be a place where you can always go to. So that really helps me with creating every day. Now, when I say every day, I don't mean like I create 365 days of the year, but it's a habit, and I do it most days. Unless I'm, you know, feeling sick, or I'm traveling, or I just need a break. I need to kind of take care of myself, like a self-care, because some days you just do need to take a break. But I've developed an art practice because, you know, I've made it readily available for me. So I hope this helps. And if you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer it. So I am going to use oil pastels now. And this is just my, my cheaper brand. And I just want to kind of bring in some delicious color here. And so I love all the flakes and crumbs and everything. And I'm not, I'm not worried about it when I close my book. I'm not worried about it coming on, transferring onto the other page. So I'm just kind of going over this a little bit here. I don't want it to be like super fussy. I just want it to have like a very raw look to it. So I think I'm gonna use this pink over here. It's a delicious pink. And I'm not gonna use it all over the dress. And I'm just gonna use my fingers and smush it in here. And I'm really loving this here. Ooh, this is a beautiful color. So I think what I'm gonna do is bring some of it over here. Oh, I'm really loving that. That is really beautiful. I love that. So I'm gonna take this orange over here and just add a little bit here. This is my textile gold paint, and it's actually Italian, so I'm really not sure where you can pick it up from. But look at that. Ooh, that just gives it that pop. And I am gonna kind of put it in 2 other places just to keep my eye moving around the page. So maybe I'm gonna put it over there. And so I think that this spread is done. I still have a few small things to do. Like I have to wait for this to completely dry and then add the lips in here. But for the most part, it is done. And I don't want to fuss around with it too much. But I hope that this was a good illustration of how when things are super messy or when they're really ugly or muddy or, whatever it is that you may not be liking at the moment, it's really important to embrace it, to step into it, to start where you are, use what you have. And it's not about accepting it and saying, well, I'm going to stay in this place. But to say, this is my starting point. And I find that that really helps me and it takes me to where the page wants to go. So as you can see, like it's not really tight. Like there's a lot of messiness here. And, there's a lot of my first layers that are showing through, like the stencil over here, the stencil here, the stencil here, the writing from my first layers, the greens. So it's kind of a messy page, but I'm really liking it because I've unified the mess, like I've toned it down. In the beginning, it was like the whole spread was messy, and now I've kind of like, contained the messiness to certain areas. And when you have something that's really messy, but then you have so many calm areas, like the background is very calm and this is calm over here, then it kind of provides a nice balance So there's some interest on the page. But anyways, if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.